Holy moly, we're
Hey,
live. Hey, what's going on, buddy?
what's going on? I think we're live.
We are live. Hello to everybody out there in the world of, in the virtual world of LinkedIn. You could be watching us on LinkedIn. You could be watching us on Facebook. You could be listening to our podcast on Podbean tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows? We're just glad to have you along for the ride. This is Pete coming to you from Birmingham, Alabama.
And I'm Pete's buddy Brian, coming to you from the Mile High in Denver, Colorado.
We are buddies, aren't we?
We are. We've been buddies a while. You know,
buddies.
Come to think of it, if we weren't buddies, this wouldn't be a whole lot of fun.
No. It's a good thing we like each other. So anyhow, if you haven't been with us before, this is called Leadership and Laughs. In fact, let's go ahead and get the old theme song going, then we'll explain what we're all about. So let me go and push the button here and see if this bad boy works. This is a professional show.
That's money well spent right there. Well done.
I'm telling you, anybody thinks they can have a live broadcast. That was a thing. That was a real thing, buddy.
Of you putting up a sign there on the side of the road.
It looks back when I had hair. So if you're joining us for the first time or listening to the replay, whatever you're doing, Brian and I do this little thing called Leadership and Laughs. And again, we're both passionate about leadership. I think our whole goal is to help you get better at being a leader. So it doesn't matter if you're a manager, a supervisor, and an individual contributor. We're hoping that in this 45 minutes to an hour, we'll be able to share some tips with you, how to be the best leader you can be. We'll do that through current events and game shows and some stuff about Disney. But right, Brian? I mean, the whole thing is just to help people get better in their leadership roles.
It's interesting you say all those things. I mean, you can be a leader whether you're in management or not. And we've always believed that and taught that. And, you know, the difference between leadership and management, right, Pete?
Yeah, it was a big deal again when we worked back at Disney that all of the frontline managers were called leaders. Now it's a big thing. You're not a frontline supervisor, you're a frontline leader. Here's a trivia question for you, Brian. Except for the Disney's Animal Kingdom, what do they call the frontline managers at Disney's Animal Kingdom? Do you remember that at all?
Mufasas.
Very close. Give yourself a bell. They were
that's not right.
Guest service proprietors. Service proprietors, because they were in charge.
I
of
don't remember that.
And everything. Yeah, how about that? Taking you back there. So listen, this is an interactive show. So if you're watching us on Facebook or LinkedIn during our live broadcast, please, if you go ahead and chat or I should say, post a comment. If you go ahead and post a comment during the live stream, we might be able to pull it up full screen like this. Look, there's me. I just said hi. So
that guy looks way more professional than you. Look at that guy.
Yeah, it does look. Got that going. So
good-looking guy right there.
So what we do is we try to break this show into different segments, and we want you to kind of play along, listen along, share your thoughts. The very first segment, I believe, is called "Leading Off." Let's get your theme song. There we go. This is where we just start the day, buddy, with you sharing with us some exciting stories from the world that can relate to leadership, management, influence, persuasion, something exciting, something exciting just to kind of motivate and inspire us. So I call this Leading Off with Brian. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's talk first, Pete, about some senior citizens that are posing as Hollywood stars in order to raise money for Alzheimer's research. Thought this was a really feel-good story here. And this is, do you have a picture up there?
Let me see what I can find for you, buddy, in the old vault here. I've got.
Let's see if you got a picture.
How about that
there
one?
They are. There they are.
What? Okay. So tell me a little bit about this.
Why are we looking at this, you say?
Yes.
These senior citizens are decked out in their colorful costumes and wigs and makeup, and what they're doing is they're recreating iconic movie scenes or characters for an annual calendar that they publish. And they all live together in a Washington state assisted living community. And there's the Blues Brothers.
Look at that.
These two particular guys are they're best friends. This is Kip Steele and his friend Jack Guptill, who are posed as the Blues Brothers, and they stayed in their costumes all day, is what they said, and they get a lot of applause and smiles and laughter. But the main point of all of this is that they sell the calendar, and all the proceeds from the sales of the calendar go to the Alzheimer's Association.
You know, and Brian, this just looks like something fun. Sometimes you think as we get older, and you and I, again, are getting to that, what we call the whole halftime mark, where, you know, we're getting ready to cross that threshold into our second. Some of us have already crossed into our second.
Speak for yourself, buddy.
I know. And so
I'm still 28 over here.
You look delicious. And so, you know, what do you do as you get older? Do you just, you know, retire and sit around and just whittle, or do you want to add value? And again, I think if you're once a leader, always a leader, giving back to your community, giving back for research, giving back to nonprofits, it's just an awesome story, man. You said that was from the state of Washington. That's where they,
from the state of Washington. That's the Spiritwood Assisted Living Community. And it includes those who are in what they call memory care. So they're Alzheimer's patients, or they're experiencing some level of dementia, and they get special time and care. And the photographer who took the pictures said, you know, that they may not remember your name, but if you interact with them enough and show constant friendship, they tend to trust you, and a huge bond is created. And
that's so nice, man. And
it has a ripple effect as they're helping Alzheimer's patients all over.
And I got to be honest with you, you know, Elwood is kind of so, but Jake looks the part, man. He's got the John Belushi thing down.
I agree. Yeah, they look like somebody who would order a two slices of white toast and 3 whole chickens
and 4 whole fried chickens. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Now, let's get into story number 2. If you're just joining us, we're doing Leading Off with Brian. He's got 3 stories to get us going today to motivate and inspire us. Let's go to story 2, buddy. What do you got for me?
So story 2 lends itself a little bit, I think, to personal brand. We've talked about this in Leadership and Laughs in the past.
Yes, we have.
And most of our corporate friends have heard of, you know, your personal brand. How are you known around the office and in your career? And for this story, we're going to be talking about Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton is one of the first people, of course, who became famous for being famous.
Being famous, yes. Right.
Nobody really knew, like she was just famous. And she says, you know, she's got a new documentary out, I don't know if she's producing the documentary, but there is a Paris Hilton story documentary out. And she says that basically she's been playing the part of Paris Hilton for all these years and doesn't really know how to be normal anymore. And so she says, you know, I'm so used to playing a character that it's hard for me to just be normal. And I thought that was interesting because you can get typecast in a role in Hollywood. Yep. And you can also get typecast in your own personal brand that you've created for yourself. And
absolutely,
it can get hard to get out of that. I will give you an example.
Please go ahead.
So one of the personal brands that I created for myself was as the irreverent, funny guy who would, you know, make the sarcastic quip or witty joke. And that played pretty well when I was 25, 26. And sometimes, you know, people who have known me for a long time now, I might say something serious and they immediately assume that I'm just kidding or joking around.
Yeah. Yeah. That whole jester archetype, shocking that we both align with that. I mean, how many times are you sort of down during the day or kind of off back in the days when you go to the office and people would go, "What's wrong? Are you okay? Are you?" "No, I'm fine," because you're not.
Say something funny.
Yeah. Entertain me, hey, funny boy.
Are you not entertained?
So it's just, yeah. I mean, and so it's a little sad for her to hear she's been playing a part this whole time, because who is the real Paris Hilton, who is the real Brian, who is the real Pete, and so if you feel you have to turn it on every time you go to work or every time you're out in public and no one sees the real you, I don't know, man, that's got to be a very big internal struggle. So that's but again, if you want to watch the documentary, the person playing Paris Hilton in the movie is going to be
also Paris Hilton. Yeah. Okay. And that'll be available on YouTube on September 14th.
Well, I will mark my calendar, because that's one thing I do not want to miss. See, I cut off your mic. You're not allowed to talk, because instead I've got to go. We've got one more story from leading off with Brian. See what I did there? Okay. I figured since we paid for those, we might as well use them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a shame
I'm sorry, what? What'd you say? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay, I'm done. Go ahead.
This is like the the car, you're driving the car and it's slowly rolling, and I'm trying to get in the car and you're like, no, I'm sorry, go ahead, get in.
No, I know, I'm opening the door.
Take off a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a good thing we like each other. All right, story 3. Sorry.
All right, story 3. So this is a little bittersweet, but due to COVID-19, the world lost legendary musician Ellis Marsalis Jr., who was the patriarch of the Marsalis family, with Wynton Marsalis and
sure.
Delfeayo Marsalis,
and great musician.
Exactly. Yeah. And so he was the dad, and was really responsible for a lot of the New Orleans sound. And so anyway, he passed away, unfortunately, due to complications of COVID-19. And the day after he died, a local music store there in New Orleans put out a sign that said, thank you, Ellis Marsalis. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Ellis Marsalis, for keeping NOLA music alive. Nice. And when his son, Delfeayo, saw that, he's a trombonist himself and a music producer and a New Orleans native like his dad. He went ahead and started a nonprofit organization right in the middle of the pandemic.
No way.
Yeah, hold
on. I've got a picture of that too. Hold on. Is this all right?
Oh yeah, there they are. So this is just a picture of the first person that was helped. So he said the idea resonated with me, and the whole point of the organization, which he called NOMA, KNOMA, which stands for Keep New Orleans Music Alive. And it was just an idea to, financially support local musicians now when they need it the most during this pandemic. Because, most of our musicians are not rich and famous musicians. And I come from a family of musical folks. Unfortunately, I was the one who didn't want to practice.
So you did not tickle the ivories, if you will?
Well, I tickled them, but it never came to anything. I just wanted to go outside and run around.
Yeah.
But he says many of the New Orleans musicians have to hone their skills on the street corners and or in bars. And of course it's tough during the pandemic right now, because a lot of those social activities are pretty solidly on lockdown. So
not just the ones who are in the bars, but every time I go to New Orleans, the amount of street musicians and people on the corner, and they're just playing for the love, and people are throwing some money at them, and they make enough to kind of make a living, and they're just outdoor performers. And with tourism down and with hotel occupancy down, I'm sure New Orleans is like, those people are like my living. This is what I love and what I know how to do. Yeah,
I think the pandemic hit those areas hard, like it's hit a lot of places hard, and. Yep. And most of those artists and musicians they're self-financed. So when the finances go away, they're in some trouble. So the Marsalis family is coming together to support them and keep New Orleans music alive.
I don't know why you set me up like this, Brian, because you did a great thing tonight. We talked about older generations who are helping people and adding value, and then younger generations who are helping people and adding value, and then you threw this in there. So I don't.
There's a lesson to be learned there.
Paris Hilton, not a sponsor.
Yeah.
So good stories today, man. Way to get us started. Hey, I've got some breaking news for you. The leadership article of the week. Here it comes. It's the Leadership and Laughs article of the week. What do you think about that?
That was breaking news. That was knocked me out of my chair.
I know. This just in, Pete has the article of the week. This just handed to me, Brian. All right, so what I thought we'd do for this segment is, and we always float around segments. We always have new ideas, but I thought I'd find something that's really leadership specific that we can share with people and hopefully get your. So if you're watching live right now, get on there, get your comments out there. Things like apparently my wife is watching, so she's mocking me for saying, "Okay, funny boy." So that's good, but this article is from the World Economic Forum, Brian, and it just came out just last week. And this is based on a study by the National Bureau of Economic Research, and they studied 3.1 million workers from 2,100 firms in more than a dozen cities across the world to find out if we're working harder if we're working more or working less during COVID-19.
Okay.
Would you say that when people are working remotely, are they working harder or are they working, I keep saying harder or less, more or less?
This is like a reverse over-under.
It's like a reverse over-under. Yeah. I will tell you the answer so that you look even smarter.
Let me guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to say people are working harder.
Yeah. According to the research, the average workday is now 48 minutes longer. And it says that employees who are based at home during COVID have seen the length of their working days increase. Why do you think that is, Brian?
I think they're just available more.
Right.
Increased reach and availability. I will share that as soon as we're done with this podcast, I will be going back to my day job for a little bit before I cook dinner. So there's always something to do.
Yeah, when you're working remotely, again, it's hard to kind of make that disconnect when everything is right there, right in front of you. They found that 98% of people like the idea to work remotely the rest of their career. So people are finding value in it, even though they are working longer. And here's what they found, and you will not be able to decipher this, but I'll show it to you anyways on the old screen here. Let me get rid of you. What they're saying now is that is causing people to actually, you're back. That's actually causing people. No, you're back. It's actually causing people to work longer hours. So again, it's because emails are being sent after hours. Emails are up 5 to 6%, and the number of daily meetings per person, buddy, is up about 13%.
Okay, so I got to let you know that when the picture was up, we couldn't hear anything you were saying.
Oh, my word.
Da, 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 da.
Oh, hang on a second.
Oh, do we have that?
Yeah. So whenever I put up a screen graphic, I totally lose the microphone. Is that what you're telling me?
In this case, that is what happened.
Okay. So just in a nutshell, what I'm telling you is, okay, hang on. Can I try it again?
Yeah,
Let's do it again, buddy. Let's try it again. All right. So can you hear my mic now?
Yes.
Okay. So basically everything to the right of the red line is post-COVID. Everything to the left of the blue lines is pre-COVID. So you can see all of the actual numbers are higher on the right side of all these graphs than the left side because people are just sending more emails. So it's funny. There's a lot more things that cause people to work longer at work, but just the volume of emails is causing people to work 48 minutes longer every day. So again,
I would take the over.
Yeah.
I think it's
like, I also want to thank my buddy Gary for trying to be funnier than we are. So well done, sir.
It's a low bar, Gary.
Yeah. We're still learning. It's not you, Lawrence. We're still learning all the actual buttons that come with it. So here's my takeaway. If you're a supervisor, leader, manager, Brian, as you're going through this, be careful with the amount of emails, be careful of the expectations you're putting on people, because as they get into the workplace, as they are doing more emails and more remote, sometimes I'll go back to my computer tonight, Brian, at 9:00, I'll start sending emails. Well, does my team think they have to respond at that time? So they go on. So there's a whole lot of leadership and flexing that kind of has to go on there. So that, my friend, was the section that I called article. Oh, wait, what just happened, buddy?
Now?
What just happened? What is this thing? Oh, it's Over and Under, everybody's favorite game show. Ironically enough, with the over word being on the under gear and the under word being on the over gear. Can we get our
see how we do it?
To kind of work on that. This is the world's greatest leadership statistics game show, Over Under, brought to you by my buddy Brian. What do you say, Brian? Let's get started.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No, we have time for that.
We do actually have time for that. So, like Pete said, this is everybody's favorite leadership statistics game show. If you've watched us before, feel free to play along. And here, if you haven't watched us before, also feel free to play along. Here's how it's going to work. I'll be presenting Pete with a few interesting and timely statistics.
Tidbits, if you will.
Tidbits, little
Factual?
trinkets,
some nuggets of information.
Some tchotchkes of information. Little, he's going to have to decide if the actual number is over or under the number that I give him. So he's hearing these for the first time. And again, we want to encourage you all to play along. And this is, we've done about 4 episodes now dealing with the same survey that was undertaken by which is a global talent management company who surveyed thousands of traditional office and desk job setting employees who work in large enterprise companies. So these aren't employees of small mom and pops, but employees who work in large enterprise companies, which has 2,500 or more employees. And it was all about the employee experience. So we talk about employee experience being a buzzword in our corporate world. And basically it describes all the touch points that an employee has at your company. So, from the interviewing experience all the way through advancement and especially those benefits and perks.
Let's do it.
So today we're going to be talking about what role diversity and inclusion plays in defining the employee experience. And
timely,
I apologize.
And relevant.
Timely and relevant. And right in the middle of that, I got a text where my daughter was sending me her birthday list. So this just to let you know that this is a live show.
Anyway, I heard that too. I'm like, that must be important.
You heard the ding, right?
Yeah.
So diversity and inclusion are an important part of company culture. And I think you'd agree. And I think that most companies believe that the benefits of having a representative workforce is good for innovation and creativity, and it's good for the company's reputation. But what do employees think?
Very good point.
Let's find out.
I was going to say.
First question. How many employees said they believe that building a team with diverse backgrounds and viewpoints leads to more creativity and innovation?
100%.
No, of course not.
Okay.
How many employees said? How many employees said they believe that building a team with diverse backgrounds and viewpoints leads to more creativity and innovation? It is a higher. Well, I'll put the over under at 75%. You're going to take the over or the under?
I'd like everybody else to play along as I do this. Now, again, keep in mind, my first goal is 100% because as a leadership trainer, as speaker, and, manager as you are, we always assume that everybody will think like we do. Everybody should think that having a diverse and inclusive workforce would make people better and a better team, all of that.
Sure.
So I'm going to think 100. I'm going to go as the negative Nelly tonight and say that it's going to be less. So I'm going to go with the under. I am going to go with the under and say that it is less. My smoking hot wife agrees with me. My smoking hot buddy Scott also agrees with me. I can't speak for Lawrence on how I feel about him yet, but he'll take the he'll take it. Gary will take the over, and Jeff will give us a thumbs up, which means he's never played the game before. Okay, so Terry's going with under as well. All right, Brian, what do you got?
All right, so how many employees said they believe that building a team with diverse backgrounds and viewpoints leads to more creativity and innovation? I set the over or under at 75%. I'm giving you a bell if you said over. It's actually over 75%. It's 79, almost 80% said that it's good for not only, like we talked about, creativity and innovation, but it's good for the employee experience as well.
Yes. So once again, Jeff, who is my boss, is not only winning in the game, he's also correcting me that the thumbs up means over. So it'll be a long day for me at work tomorrow. Looking forward. Had no idea he was going to be on tonight, so this may be even worse. Okay, I'm 0 for 1. Keep them coming. No, don't keep them coming. We have to pay, my friend. We have to pay or get our money's worth. So if you're just joining us, we're playing the world famous over and under. All right, go ahead.
All right, over under with Pete and Brian. Not the title of this podcast, but
no. Unless it was our ratings over or under 4 people watching.
Right. So diversity and inclusion, when we talk about that in a corporate sense, usually that means what we all think it means, right? It's cultural backgrounds and race and ethnicity and religious, religious viewpoints, beliefs.
Watch me just let you struggle through that.
I couldn't grab the word. But it could also mean other things. So when we talk about diversity, I found this to be an interesting question, especially in light of today's political climates. How many employees said that they felt that if their manager or colleagues really knew their political beliefs, it would limit their career potential?
Wow, that's a great question.
So, we, as corporate trainers, as HR folks, we try to, limit the amount of politics that enters the workplace, but we all know it's there. Mm-hmm. And so employees were asked, do you feel that if your manager or your colleagues knew your political beliefs, it would limit your career potential? Over or under 20% said yes. What does everybody think?
I don't know. I'm thinking of taking the over because it shouldn't. I mean, it shouldn't. It should have nothing to. We should be able to separate that. But the way that everybody is tied in today to whatever political party or political affiliation you have, that's who you are as a person. That's everything that you believe in. So if that sort of is the perception out there, I would think it's going to be more than 20%. Your smoking hot wife says over, so that's good. Sherry over, Scott over, Gary over. I'm going with the group tonight, man. Lawrence is going with, thank you for the thumbs up as well. Good, going over. Let's go with the over, buddy.
It's over. Good job, everybody.
Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, 25% of employees surveyed said they felt like if their manager or colleagues really knew what their political affiliations were, it would limit their careers, which is
I'm surprised
interesting.
I'm surprised it's that low, to be honest with
you. Well, it also makes me think, like, if you work in an office that's extremely conservative or extremely progressive liberal, and you are of the opposite viewpoint, you might feel like you better keep that to yourself, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if it's a office where everybody feels pretty much the same way, then maybe they don't feel like those opinions would hinder their career.
Hey, Sean, what's up, buddy? Let me throw this out to everybody in comments before Brian gets to the next one. Our politics, as a general rule, here's the question. As a general rule, we discuss politics with my workmates during an election year. As a general rule, there are people at my work that we will discuss differing political things at work, especially over the next 2 months during a political year. Yes or no on some of those? I would love to hear, because again, my workspace is a little different. I happen to work with 5 people, and we're very open and we're very transparent, and a lot of us believe different things when it comes to whether it be religion or politics or things like that. And so it's very interesting that we can have those discussions, but I know that a lot of areas can't and shouldn't. And so it's just interesting to think about. This should say something. No one's really commenting, I don't think, about if they do talk at work about that. So if you have a comment on that.
While they're, Sean has good.
What does Sean say? Yeah, that's a good point, Sean, because again, it seems like with these discussions at work, it's not about having a discussion to understand the other person. It's about, I got to have a discussion with you so that you can come over to my side and believe the way I believe. So we can't even agree to disagree anymore. So that could be a little bit of a struggle. And to Brian's point, if this ties into the employee experience and I'm not going to have a promotion, I might be blackballed. I might be put on a bad list. If we talk about these things and we don't agree, then I'm a little hesitant. Lauren says he is not either. He's guessing ahead to the next question, Brian, or or he's saying we are not talking about that.
Yeah, I'll say that.
Work.
Yeah.
Here's one more for you, Brian. Christine says I can discuss politics because Christine owns her own business, but again, it can become so misunderstood. So hey, great point. And again, Scott is a firefighter, so he's got a very compact group of guys he works with all the time. So that may play if I'm living and working and breathing and saving people's lives along the way, and Scott may mean small group, meaning his church small group or a small group of friends, but depending on, where you work, that can be part of it. So, hey, look at Debbie. Hey, Debbie, thanks for joining us. Look at that sweet girl.
Hi, Deborah.
So awesome. All right. You got one more for me, buddy?
All right. So one more and go ahead and run the graphic.
When you say that, you're supposed to actually.
Go ahead. All right. This is the last one in this particular series. So I made it a triple threat, Pete. A triple threat.
Let's go. The EGOT.
It's
the EGOT of over under.
It's a bonus round. There will be this last question. We'll have 3 different opportunities to answer. And it's broken down by age group. I found this interesting and telling, and we'll see what everybody thinks. All right. The question was asked, do you wish that you worked with a more diverse set of colleagues? Do you wish that you worked with a more diverse set of colleagues? And they broke this down by age group. So, we talk a lot about, baby boomers and Gen X, the different generations in the workplace, and, different levels of experience and different levels of, cultural norms that happened when they began. So this kind of shines a light on that a little bit. I wish I worked with a more diverse set of colleagues.
Okay.
So how many people ages 18 to 38, so the younger group, said, yes, I wish I worked with a more diverse set of colleagues? Is it over or under 33%?
It's over. It's over, because I'm going to stereotype that generation and say that part of me thinks they already work with a very diverse group because they work maybe in the tech industry or in something where, you know, that exists. Perhaps they work somewhere where it doesn't exist and they want more of it. So yeah, I mean, it just seems like, I hate to stereotype, but the younger generation wants more diversity and inclusion than everybody else. Terry's going with the over. Sean's going with, nice gator hat, Sean. Sean's going with the over. Yeah, I think Scott's going with the over. I think most are going over. What do you got for me, buddy? Well done. Well played.
Stereotype, if you will, but the answer is 44%. So yes, over. More more folks 18 to 38 answered, I wish I worked with a more diverse set of colleagues. Now let's go to my age group here, and yours.
26 to 28?
Yep. Ages 39 to 54. So right in the middle, 39 to 54. How many of our age group said, I wish I worked with a more diverse set of colleagues? Is it over or under 33%?
You're putting Gen X in here. And again, I'm going to go with the stereotype that Gen X is a little more, we're good for anything, very inclusive. Let's roll with it. Pretty excited about new things, and it's all easy. So again, yeah, Jeff's going to go with the over. Thank you, Terry, going with the over. Sean, because they feel that's what they should say. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Scott Payne going with Al Unser, which is
Bobby
interesting.
Unser.
I'm not sure. Oh, well done. Oh, and he corrected himself. Way to take the fun out of it, Scott. All right, so Scott's the only one going under. All the rest of us are going over. I'm going over as well. Lawrence is going Debbie says, what does Debbie say? She hopes it's over. Lawrence says under. Jeff says over. Boy, we got a mixed bag on this. What do you say about that?
All right. The answer for Scott Payne is under.
Wow.
Under is the answer. It's 30%.
Wow.
So when you talk about age groups, you know, the 18 to 38-year-olds, 44% of that age group said, yes, I wish I worked with a more diverse set of colleagues. And, you know, keep in mind, you know, if you were asked this question and you already work with a very diverse set of colleagues, then you might have said, no, I'm good. But in general, ages 18 to 38 said over 33%. And ages 39 to 54 said under. They only 30% said that. Now, here's the question. Ages 55 and older. Ages 55 and older. How many of that age group said, you know, I wish I worked with a more diverse set of colleagues?
Now, here's the funny thing. And
yeah, you don't want to stereotype.
We learned this back at Disney in our diversity training. There was this thing that really got us all kicked off on most training classes called the 4 layers of diversity. And so it said that we need to break away from race and gender. It's always race and gender. I want more diversity. Well, do you need more African Americans? I want more diversity. Well, do you need more females? And we're always thinking of diversity as race and gender. And what we learned about these 4 layers of diversity is diversity can include race and gender and sex and how you were raised and your political affiliation. Are you married or unmarried? How many kids do you have? And what about, and there's so many layers to diversity, but we tend to default to just, in our minds, when we hear diversity, race and gender. So I say all that to say that the 55-year and older group is going to be thinking about that. And so what was the percentage that you gave me for them?
33%.
I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under. I'm going to say that group does not want that. Sean, look at Sean. Sean's thinking positive. Sean's going with the over. Lawrence is deciding still. Very good. I agree with you, Lauren. Seasoned managers do work well together. So, putting in new diverse ways and thoughts may throw something, throw in like a wrench in the works, if you will.
And keep in mind, this is one snapshot, survey of, a couple of thousand employees.
Yep.
But I will say,
Missy's joined us. Missy says over. Good to see you, Missy.
Yeah. So when we talk about, the employees who are ages 55 and older, who said, I wish I worked with a more diverse set of colleagues, the actual answer is way under. It's 16%. So if you said under, you get a bell.
Yay for cranky old men. Yay.
Well, I didn't break it down along
gender or race lines or anything like that. That's not surprising. And from a leadership point of view, that should tell us. And this is a true story. But I'm sure if you remember this, Brian and I both worked at the college program, the college internships, and when they opened a miniature golf course called Winter Summerland, we always put new college interns at all these locations. Well, we figured it's a miniature golf course. They only need probably one college intern to work there for 5 months. Well, most of the people who we hired to work for right fit roles to work at the miniature golf course were retired, military, older men who were just there part-time. And so there's one college program there, student with nobody their age, with everybody else older. And their feedback on there was, I had a great program, but I wish that there was more diversity in people, and even people my age working there. So we changed that. We got their feedback, and now we realize that younger age wants to be with a lot of different styles of people. It makes their stuff good. Sean says, "Get off my lawn," personified. Yeah. Like that. What was that Clint Eastwood movie where he sat out front with the gun?
That was El Camino. El
Camino,
Dorado?
El Chapo, El Chapo, El Pulpo,
El Cool J.
LL Cool J. Debbie says they tend to think younger generation are lazy. Yeah. We can always stereotype that. And all right, man, awesome. If you can think of the movie with Clint Eastwood,
it is amazing that the older I get, the lazier the younger generation seem. Why is that?
Why? Because we're getting older. We did it so much better. Oh my word, Brian!
Look how fun this is.
Could it possibly be that this is the music I hear when I'm walking down Main Street, USA? Look at us. Look at how young we are.
We're being goofy with Goofy.
It is time once a week for our favorite segment called The Daily Disney that we do once a week, where Brian and I drop some Disney magical knowledge on you of how you can be the best possible leader you can be. So we're really excited about that. There we go.
All
right. There we go. Welcome back. Is this correct? Gran Torino?
Yes. Right? Gran Torino is right. I knew it was
Christine, thank you so much.
Car that I wanted to drive at some point.
Yes. What will she be getting, Brian?
She'll be getting a brand new Leadership and Laughs with Pete and Brian t-shirt. Hold on.
It'll be in the mail right away. Check with our marketing.
No, we don't.
Do we have one?
Yeah, we don't have any of those.
No shirts in stock. All right. So here's what we're going to do today for the Daily Disney, y'all. We've only got about 15 minutes left, and this is going to be interactive. This is going to be controversial. And I rarely do controversial Disney stuff because I always speak good about them. I love the company. They do things well. But this ties into today's work environment. This ties into exactly what all of us are facing on a daily basis. So what I want to talk about today is safety down at Disney. So let me go through some of these things. Again, you all know Brian and I worked down at Walt Disney World for, many, many years. And so they're doing a great job with their safety protocols. So Brian, for example, here's one of their buses. Now, if you've been to Walt Disney World on a Disney bus, if you've been to Walt Disney World on a bus, that's my seat. On a bus, they cram as many people in there as they can. Well, they've been social distancing on the buses and putting numbers on them, and you're not allowed to stand anymore on the buses. So again, doing everything they possibly can. If you ride the monorails, they put up these partitions in between and so many people per and all these things that they can do. And you can see here, there's little places to stand before you go on the monorail, and they're trying everything to keep everybody safe and maintain physical distancing and all the hand sanitizers and all of the things that are going on. And in fact, Brian, this article from the Orlando Sentinel recently said that even the theme parks union leader has said they're doing great things for the employees. He says safety is front and center. It's right in your face. It's amazing. To Disney's credit, they're being very responsive. So they're having to shift on the fly. Like if you know the Jungle Cruise attraction, all the skippers have microphones. What they've been doing is spraying down the microphones in between people's shifts. What they're saying is, can we all get our own microphones? That's going to cost money, but it's safer. They can bring it with them and plug it in and all that kind of stuff. Same thing happens with the face shields. The face shields, if you're wearing goggles or working outside or going inside to outside, it fogs up. And so you can't see anymore. Well, what Disney has done is they've started putting out certain types of wipes and certain types of Disney now keeps individualized sanitized wipes in backstage employees' areas, and workers can keep packets in their pockets to wipe off the condensation on their plastic face shields over their masks. So they're listening to people's suggestions. But what about this, Brian? Physical distancing, they got it down. Temperature screening, they got it down. Face coverings. If you've seen the news recently, you've seen the struggles that have come with face coverings. And this made the news recently when a gentleman went, and he has a daughter who is autistic. And as you can imagine, Brian, it's hard for someone who's autistic to wear a mask all day.
Sensory issues,
Sensory issues. My daughter teaches special education classes now. And so having, young kids wear these masks can be a struggle. So this gentleman was trying to go into the Magic Kingdom. And let's take a look from a customer service perspective, how this employee took care of it, but also the message that was shared and how it was shared. And I want to talk with you all about it and get your feedback in the comments. So let's see if we can get this up and running. Brian, what I'm going to do is I'm going to again take us off so that there's nothing in the background. So we'll be right.
Can my daughter, who is autistic with sensory issues, enter your park without a mask because she medically can't wear a mask?
Sir, I apologize. You're frustrated.
Yes or no? That's all I want to know. Can she enter your park without a mask when she is autistic and has sensory issues and is medically exempt from wearing it?
At this time, we ask that everyone entering our park.
You asked, but I'm not asking what you're requesting. I'm asking if you're following the American with Disabilities Act law, and you're telling me you're not. That's all I need to know. But listen, conversation over. I'm walking away. Just answer the question. Are you refusing to follow the American with Disabilities Act laws?
And we're not talking about any of that right now. We're talking about our
Yes, we are.
to come into the park.
Right. And my daughter is an American with a disability. Are you refusing her entry?
Right now, everyone.
Yes or no, and I'll walk
if
away.
She comes into the park without a mask, we would refuse her entry regardless.
Thank you.
Okay. So first thing is, from a customer service, great job. Great job. I mean, I thought he was talking with the guest. We apologize. This is what we're doing. So let's give you some of the facts. Let's give you some of the things that I found out. Okay. There is an Orange County, and here's the rule. Okay. Here's what's happening. Everybody who's listening to this podcast or watching the live stream, I want you to answer what you would do or what your organization would do in this situation. So there is an Orange County ordinance for Orange County, Florida, that says every person doing business in Orange County is required to wear a face covering. So you also got the state law from the governor. You've also got that's in place. You've also got Disney that has a corporate policy, Brian. The corporate policy is you have to have a mask. Unless you're under the age of 2, you have to wear a mask. Period. End of everything. No discussion. Okay. Which brings us as leaders to the world famous ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act that he was bringing. So I went and found a law brief that said, if a person with a disability is unable to wear a face mask, do I still have to allow them in my business or government agency? So again, it's written in lawyerese, and they're very back and forth. And they say that, if a person is not able to wear a face mask, that the person should consider reasonable modifications and, reasonable accommodations and all these things. But then they do say there's three reasons, Brian, why you don't have to let that person in. One is a fundamental alteration. So there's something Disney has to change, a fundamental alteration to their business structure. The second one is an undue burden, if it would be an undue burden on the organization. But the third one, which I think is what Disney's going to probably fall back on, is direct threat.
Public safety.
A state or local government agency or private business may not have to provide a reasonable modification to their face mask policy if the individual with a disability poses a direct threat to the health and safety of others. So, and as a sidebar, this seems to be Disney's policy right now, buddy, because there was a Disney store in Ontario, Canada, and a 6-year-old girl who had autism was asked to leave the store because she couldn't keep her mask on. And the people were like, she's in here to buy a stuffed animal. And the Disney store cast member said, I'm sorry, you have to leave. She can't keep her mask on. And that's what our policy, you must wear a mask. And Disney's comment at that time was, we are always focused on the health and safety of our cast members and guests. At all of our Disney stores, we have implemented a number of enhanced measures, including a face covering requirement. Now, read between the lines here, Brian. During these unprecedented times, we all have a shared responsibility to do our part, and we regret that this family was disappointed. So I'm going to stop talking for a second, buddy, and let you sort of chime in there. What are your thoughts on the law versus reasonable accommodation versus customer service versus lawsuits? What's your take on that?
My heart really does break over the fact, that there are people who really truly can't, or have children who can't wear a mask for one reason or another. I do think that there is a large group of people who just don't want to and try to fall back on that and use that as an excuse, even though it's not true, which I don't think is fair. But however, I feel like Disney is for everybody. And if there's an organization out there who bends over backwards for diversity and inclusion and making sure that everyone is welcomed as a cherished guest, it's the Disney organization. And I felt bad for the cast member in the video, especially because I felt bad for the dad too.
You feel bad for everybody in this situation.
It's just generally awful. However,
awful.
There's a reason that the quality standards are prioritized safety, then courtesy, then show and efficiency. And unfortunately, if Lawrence, I think it was Lawrence in the comments, brought up face shields. Could they have maybe given a reasonable accommodation of a face shield instead of a mask? Well, and at least offer that.
Will the child who has that, is it the fact that the mask, something's on their face? So with a face shield, they'd still be pulling that off as well. Again, it's not no, you can't. It's you can't, but can you do this? So giving them different options down the road. Again, Lawrence also said it's hard, but rules are rules and laws are laws. And again, we're talking about two separate laws here, Lawrence, which again, I think is part of the issue. One law says, do whatever you can for a guest with disability. That's part of the ADA law. The other law says there is a mask rule in place for this once in a lifetime pandemic. And if your child has a disability, we are absolutely sorry. We weep with you. We empathize with you.
But we cannot put the other.
There are guests and cast members that are in there. And what if she goes in without a mask and contracts something? Then they'll say, well, you let her in, and there's lawsuits and there's legal. And once you do it for one person, do it for everybody. So this is a tough one. I mean, Debbie brings up a couple good points. She's like, I feel like the guest didn't start the conversation with a fight. I would have felt worse for him. What she's saying there was, maybe they could have talked something out. And again, this is what happens in society. There's more of a story here. He was there for 3 or 4 days, I think, Debbie. And this was the first time trying to go to the park. I think he had the same problems walking around the resorts. Is it the parent's responsibility, if you have a child with a disability, to call your place ahead of time and say, what are the rules and regulations? I don't know. When you think about going to Disney, Brian, oh, it's Disney. Oh, they bend over backwards, so you probably don't even think about that. So it's just what I'm trying to get across here, using my favorite company in the world, Disney, as an example, is these are tough times that we have to go through. But the consistency of this actual event, if it's no masks, if it's no mask, no entry, you've got to make sure everybody is trained on that. You don't want the one ENFP, Brian, out there front going, I know what the rules say, but you're right. She's adorable. Come on in. I mean, you can tell.
Extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, extenuating circumstances, one time only, so it's just tough. And so these are things that all of us as leaders are having to adapt to right now to try to figure out what we can do. So I think lessons learned here from all of us from the Daily Disney is customer service. People are going to yell at you all the time. People are going to try to get mad at you. How do you respond to that? Are you consistent with your policies? Do all of your employees know the policy, and are they consistent with it? If exceptions are made, are they made for everybody or just for one? How do you communicate the exceptions for all of this? In fact, Disney has been changing their mask requirement for the past 2 months. I was talking about them, reacting. First, it was any masks. Now they don't allow those neck gaiters. And now they also don't allow the masks that have the little, what are those called, Brian? Those little vents that come out.
Respirators.
Those aren't allowed anymore. And it used to be that their thing was, if you're eating or drinking, you don't have to wear a mask. Well, we talked about this. People were buying a soda, taking their mask off, walking around today with a soda to say I don't have. So then they had to change it again to say, so they're constantly updating and changing. And I wouldn't be surprised if this rule changes moving forward. It wouldn't if they found some type of accommodation. But as leaders in organizations, Joe, we have to be flexible. We've got to make really, really, really different things. Missy brings up a good point. I mean, filming it because you're trying to possibly get the company or kind of something like that. Lawrence has one more good comment. When you use the word law is more powerful to saying rules. Governments make laws, corporations make rules. Yeah, really, really good point. Really good point. Sean says anyone who's arguing these days seems to want to share their argument with others. So yeah, this is tough, y'all. It's a tough time to be a leader. Brian, I'll give you the last word on that because I feel like I'm on a soapbox because I don't want to defend the company because actually, I do want to defend them because I know how much they care about every single guest. I know how much they want to appease every single. We worked there. We lived it. You do anything to take care of the guest. But when it comes to this one rule, it seems like they've said, I'm sorry, this is non-negotiable. And can you stand behind that no matter who the guest is?
You do anything to, protect the guest and accommodate the guest. But sometimes there is no accommodating. And
right.
And unfortunately, this is one of those times. And also, unfortunately, I feel for the dad in that, he's spent a lot of money to come here to Disney and that might be on him as well. But, he's got a daughter who, is being told that you can't come in now because
you're standing outside and you can't come in. That's
so I do feel bad, but you took the words out of my mouth when you said it's tough out there right now to be a leader, but unfortunately, the safety comes first, and that's just,
safety comes first. Yeah.
Your opinion on the pandemic doesn't, oh, it's fake or it's this is all a hoax. That doesn't enter in. It's real. Florida's a hot spot. Disney's there's a lot of people in a confined spot, and you have to wear a mask. And if you can't, then I'm sorry, you can't come in right now. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. So make sure y'all get your people trained. Make sure you know what they're sharing, what your messages are in your place of work. If you've got mask requirements, couple great lessons there for all of us. So, all right, buddy. You know what that is?
What's that?
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
That's our wrap-up music. That's our wrap-up music, man. We've hit almost 59 minutes. I hope you've got a did you know for us.
I do. So earlier, we said that 25% of employees felt that if their manager or colleagues knew their political beliefs, it would limit their career potential. But did you know? Did you know? Did you know that HR staff, human resources staff especially, feels the need to keep their personal beliefs private? When you break that question down for HR staff, it number goes up from 25% to 44%. Said that their political beliefs could limit their career potential.
If only we knew people who worked in HR.
If only.
That's us. I should keep my stuff good. One big shout out to Debbie for giving us those Disney courtesy standards, buddy. Safety, courtesy, efficiency. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. We love doing this on Wednesday nights. We thank that you join us. You can watch it again, forward it to your friends, or we'll have the audio only on Podbean beginning tomorrow morning. You can stream it again in your car if you want to do that. Brian, it's been a good night, buddy.
It's been a good night. We want everybody to be kind to each other. Hi, Missy. Yes. Just wanted to say thanks for watching and listening, and love you all.
Yeah, thanks, y'all. See you next week.